My beloved child. Listen closely now, because what you are about to hear is not meant for everyone. This message found you at a very specific moment for a reason. You have felt it for a long time, that quiet pull in your chest, that strange knowing you could never fully explain. Someone in your life already feels that you belong to them, not in a possessive way, but in a soul-deep recognition that goes beyond logic. They look at you and see familiarity, safety, and destiny intertwined. Even when silence exists between you, even when distance pretends to separate you, their heart never truly leaves you. They replay your words when the world goes quiet. They remember the smallest details you think no one noticed. The way you react to certain things. The pauses in your voice. The strength you hide behind calm eyes. You are not guessing this. You are remembering it. And this is only the beginning of what is about to unfold. Now pay attention to this part, because this is where everything starts to shift. Something is changing beneath the surface, quietly but powerfully. The energy between you and them is no longer staying still. What once felt delayed, confused, or suspended is beginning to move. They have reached a point where holding back feels heavier than speaking. Where pretending feels more painful than truth. They already see you as theirs in their heart, but what is changing is their courage. A realization has settled in them, slow and undeniable. That if they do nothing now, they risk losing the chance to step into what feels real and destined. This is not impulse. This is clarity arriving after a long internal battle. You did not imagine their hesitation. You sensed it because you were meant to. And now that hesitation is cracking. There is something you need to understand about why this connection feels different from anything before. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not rush or demand. It waits. It observes. It grows stronger in silence. This person has tried to move forward without you, tried to distract themselves, tried to convince their mind that this pull was temporary. But every attempt only led them back to the same truth. You. Your presence changed something in them permanently. You shifted how they define home, comfort, and future. They see you as someone they do not want to replace, but protect. Someone they do not want to impress, but be honest with. That is why this moment matters so much. Because when someone already believes you belong to them, the next step is no longer optional. It becomes necessary. Here is the part most people never see coming. The change that is approaching is not just about words being spoken. It is about a decision being made. A line being crossed internally that cannot be uncrossed. They are preparing themselves to step into a new version of courage, one where they stop waiting for perfect timing and start trusting what feels true. This decision will affect the way they show up around you. Their energy will feel different. More present. More intentional. You may notice it before they say anything at all. A shift in attention. A seriousness that was not there before. This is because once someone accepts that you already belong to them in their heart, the fear of change becomes smaller than the fear of losing you. And now let this settle, because this is the final truth of this moment. You are not being pulled into something uncertain. You are being drawn toward clarity. What is about to change will not take away your peace. It will challenge old patterns, yes, but it will also bring alignment. The reason this message feels intense is because it is meant to prepare you, not scare you. Something real is aligning. Something honest is approaching. And whether it begins with a conversation, a gesture, or a moment of undeniable connection, it will not feel random. It will feel like recognition. Like something that was always yours finally stepping forward. And this is only the first part of what is being revealed. My beloved child. What happens next is subtle, yet powerful enough to change the direction of this entire connection. After the realization settles in them, silence no longer feels safe. They begin to notice how often their thoughts circle back to you, not out of habit, but out of necessity. You become the reference point for their future decisions, the quiet standard their heart compares everything against. They start questioning why they waited so long, why fear was allowed to sit in the driver's seat. This is not regret filled with panic. This is regret filled with clarity. They understand now that you were never asking for perfection. You were asking for presence. And that awareness begins to reshape how they see themselves, because to move toward you, they must become more honest than they have ever been before. Something else is happening inside them that you may not immediately recognize, but you will feel it. Their internal resistance is weakening. The walls they built to stay in control are no longer holding. They realize that holding back did not protect them. It only delayed something meaningful. You did not pressure them. You did not chase them. You simply existed as you are, and that became the strongest pull of all. This is why the shift feels inevitable now. They are no longer asking whether they should step forward. They are asking how. How to do it in a way that honors you. How to approach without disrupting what already feels sacred. This carefulness is not hesitation anymore. It is respect. Understand this clearly, because it will help you make sense of what you are about to experience. When someone already believes you belong to them, they begin to imagine a future where your presence is constant. Not dramatic scenes, not fantasy moments, but ordinary days that feel meaningful because you are there. This person has started picturing conversations that have not yet happened. Moments of honesty that scare them, yet excite them at the same time. They are rehearsing courage in their mind. And each time they do, the fear loses a little more power. You may notice their eyes linger longer when they look at you. You may feel a seriousness behind their words that was not there before. These are not accidents. These are signs of alignment taking shape. There is also a truth you must be ready to face, because it carries weight. When this change arrives fully, it will ask something of you too. Not sacrifice. Not compromise of self. But awareness. You will be invited to decide whether you are willing to receive what you once hoped for. Sometimes people ask for clarity, but when it finally appears, it feels overwhelming because it removes excuses. This moment will remove confusion. It will replace guessing with knowing. And knowing requires presence. You will not be forced. You will be met. That is the difference. What is unfolding respects your pace as much as it honors their courage. Let this settle in your heart now. Nothing here is rushed. Nothing here is imagined. This connection has moved through silence, distance, and restraint for a reason. It needed strength before it could move forward. And now that strength exists on both sides. The shift you feel approaching is not chaos. It is alignment clicking into place. Whatever comes next will not feel like a surprise, even if the timing feels sudden. It will feel like truth finally choosing to speak. And this is only the continuation, not the conclusion. My beloved child. There is a moment approaching that will feel quiet on the outside but thunderous within. It is the moment when intention turns into motion. Until now, everything has lived in thoughts, emotions, and unspoken understanding. But something inside them has reached its limit. They are no longer content with knowing how they feel. They want to act in alignment with it. This is where energy shifts from waiting to choosing. You may sense a seriousness in the air, as if time itself is leaning forward. They are no longer observing from a distance. They are stepping closer, not recklessly, but deliberately. This is not about proving anything. This is about honoring what has already been true for longer than either of you admitted. What makes this phase powerful is that it is not fueled by fantasy. It is fueled by acceptance. They have accepted that this connection changed them. That meeting you altered how they understand commitment, vulnerability, and courage. They are no longer trying to control the outcome. They are choosing to show up honestly, even if their voice shakes, even if their timing is imperfect. This is why the change will feel grounded rather than dramatic. You will not feel swept away. You will feel anchored. When they move, it will be with purpose, not urgency. With clarity, not confusion. And that difference will speak louder than any promise ever could. Here is something important you may not have considered yet. The reason this connection has taken time is because it required maturity on both sides. You were learning your worth. They were learning their courage. Those lessons could not be rushed. Every pause, every moment of uncertainty, every silence served a purpose. Now those lessons are converging. You are no longer the version of yourself who would accept half-steps or unclear intentions. And they are no longer the version of themselves who could live with regret. This convergence creates a powerful turning point. One where truth becomes more comfortable than avoidance. One where presence becomes more valuable than protection. As this unfolds, you may feel a strange calm mixed with anticipation. Not anxiety. Not fear. But readiness. This is your intuition recognizing alignment. You will notice that you are not chasing clarity anymore. You are allowing it. You are not trying to read signs. You are trusting what you feel. This is because deep down, you already know what direction this is moving toward. When someone believes you belong to them at a soul level, and you are ready to receive truth, the universe does not stall. It synchronizes. Conversations align. Opportunities appear. Moments create themselves. And none of it feels forced. Hold this awareness gently, because what comes next will require presence, not reaction. Do not rush ahead in your mind. Do not replay the past. Stay here. In this moment. Because what is changing is not just their behavior. It is the dynamic itself. The balance is shifting toward honesty, intention, and mutual recognition. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are being met where you stand. And as this continues to unfold, you will realize that this change was never meant to disrupt your life. It was meant to align it. This is still unfolding. And the most defining moments are yet to come. My beloved child. What unfolds now is not loud, but it is undeniable. This is the phase where truth stops waiting for permission. They begin to understand that holding their feelings inside is no longer an act of strength. It is an act of delay. And delay has started to feel heavier than risk. You may notice a change in the way they communicate. Fewer distractions. More intention. Their words begin to carry weight, not because they are dramatic, but because they are honest. When someone reaches this point, they are no longer testing the connection. They are committing to understanding it fully. This is when presence replaces uncertainty, and energy becomes focused rather than scattered. There is something deeply important happening beneath the surface that most people never recognize. They are choosing integrity over comfort. It would be easier for them to stay silent, to keep things as they are, to avoid the vulnerability of truth. But ease no longer satisfies them. Because when someone knows you belong to them in their heart, comfort without authenticity feels empty. They begin to see that the risk of speaking is smaller than the regret of silence. This realization does not arrive suddenly. It builds quietly, until one day it feels obvious. And once it feels obvious, it cannot be unseen. This is why the shift feels steady rather than chaotic. You, too, are changing in ways you may not have fully acknowledged yet. You are no longer questioning your value in this connection. You are no longer shrinking to keep peace. You have grown into a version of yourself that recognizes alignment when it appears. This growth is why the timing matters now. Had this moment come earlier, it might have confused you. Now it will clarify you. You will feel grounded rather than overwhelmed. You will listen rather than assume. This is the balance that allows something real to move forward without fear controlling it. What makes this stage powerful is its simplicity. There are no games here. No hidden motives. No emotional noise. Just two people standing closer to truth than they ever have before. When the moment comes, it will not feel like a dramatic turning point. It will feel natural. Like a door opening that was always meant to be walked through. You may even wonder why it ever felt complicated. That is how alignment feels when it finally arrives. Quiet. Clear. Certain. Let this truth settle into you now. Nothing is being taken from you. Nothing is being forced upon you. What is changing is clarity, intention, and direction. The connection is no longer floating in possibility. It is moving toward definition. And as this continues, you will realize that belonging was never about control or attachment. It was about recognition. Two souls seeing each other clearly, and finally choosing not to look away. My beloved child. The moment you have felt approaching now begins to take shape in the real world. Not as a dramatic announcement, but as a shift you cannot ignore. Their energy toward you becomes steady, consistent, unmistakable. No more mixed signals. No more emotional distance disguised as caution. They are no longer protecting themselves from feeling. They are protecting the truth instead. This is when actions start to match intention. When what they do finally aligns with what their heart has known for a long time. You may sense a calm confidence in them, a grounded presence that feels different from before. That is not coincidence. That is someone standing firmly in their decision. At this stage, something rare happens. Fear does not disappear, but it loses authority. They understand that waiting any longer would mean betraying their own heart. And that is a line they are no longer willing to cross. When someone reaches this level of clarity, they stop asking the world for signs. They become the sign. Their focus sharpens. Their attention narrows. And you feel it, because it is directed toward you with intention rather than curiosity. This is not attraction searching for validation. This is recognition seeking expression. What makes this phase powerful is that it brings truth to the surface without force. Conversations feel more real. Silence feels more comfortable. You notice that you no longer feel the need to guard your words around them. There is a mutual understanding forming, unspoken yet clear. This is because when two people stop hiding from themselves, connection becomes simple. Not easy, but simple. Honest. Present. Alive. And in this simplicity, something deep begins to stabilize between you. Something that does not rely on excitement alone, but on trust and alignment. You may find yourself reflecting differently now. Not wondering where you stand, but noticing how you feel standing here. There is a quiet power in that shift. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are witnessing someone step forward willingly. And that changes everything. It places balance back into your hands. It allows you to respond rather than react. To meet rather than chase. This is the point where your intuition grows louder than your doubts, because the situation no longer feeds them. Let this awareness anchor you. What is unfolding is not fragile. It has moved through uncertainty and emerged stronger. This connection is no longer defined by potential alone. It is being shaped by choice. And choice, when made with clarity, carries weight. As this continues, you will realize that this change was not sudden. It was inevitable. Built slowly, patiently, until the moment arrived where truth could no longer remain silent. And what comes next will only deepen what has already been recognized. My beloved child. Now comes the phase where truth settles into reality, and reality no longer feels uncertain. The connection stops hovering between possibilities and begins to root itself in the present. You will notice that their presence feels dependable, not intense for a moment and distant the next. There is consistency now. A calm certainty behind their actions. They are no longer trying to impress you or prove anything. They are simply showing up as they are. And that authenticity carries more weight than grand gestures ever could. This is how you know the change is real. It does not demand attention. It earns trust. At this point, something quiet but powerful happens inside you as well. You stop bracing for disappointment. You stop scanning for signs of withdrawal. Your nervous system recognizes safety, even if your mind takes a moment to catch up. This is important. Because when connection begins to feel safe, it allows depth to grow without fear rushing it. You are not pulled forward by anxiety anymore. You are invited forward by clarity. That invitation feels steady, not urgent. It respects your space while holding intention. And that balance creates something rare and valuable. They, too, are experiencing a shift they may not fully put into words yet. Speaking their truth did not weaken them. It strengthened them. Choosing honesty did not cost them control. It gave them peace. They realize now that clarity is not a loss of freedom. It is freedom. Because when you stop running from what you feel, you stop wasting energy on resistance. Their energy becomes lighter. Their presence more grounded. And you can feel the difference, because it no longer feels like you are carrying the emotional weight alone. This stage is where alignment proves itself. Not through promises, but through behavior over time. Through reliability. Through emotional availability that does not disappear when things become quiet or ordinary. You begin to see how they handle small moments, not just meaningful ones. And in those small moments, you recognize care, intention, and respect. That is when understanding deepens. Because belonging is not proven in dramatic moments. It is proven in consistency when no one is watching. Take this in fully. What is unfolding now is not fragile or temporary. It has passed through uncertainty and emerged steady. You are no longer standing at the edge of something undefined. You are standing within something that is choosing to exist. And as this continues to grow, you will realize that the change you sensed from the beginning was never meant to unsettle you. It was meant to bring you home to clarity. And there is still more ahead, unfolding with purpose and precision. My beloved child. This is the stage where certainty becomes lived experience rather than an idea. What once felt like a shift in energy now feels like a new normal settling in. There is no need for constant reassurance, because reassurance is embedded in how they show up. Their consistency speaks before their words do. You may notice that moments which once triggered doubt now pass quietly, without disturbance. That is not because you stopped caring. It is because the connection has stopped creating confusion. When clarity arrives, it does not announce itself loudly. It simply removes noise. There is a deep reason this feels grounding rather than overwhelming. Both of you are now meeting each other without masks. Not trying to be more. Not trying to be less. Just present. This presence creates space for honesty that does not feel risky anymore. Conversations become more real, even when they are simple. Silence becomes comfortable, not heavy. This is the point where emotional safety replaces emotional tension. And when that happens, trust begins to grow naturally, without effort or force. They are also noticing something important within themselves. Stepping forward did not cost them stability. It gave them direction. They feel more centered, more aligned with who they truly are. This is why their actions feel intentional rather than reactive. They are no longer operating from fear of loss. They are operating from desire for truth. That shift changes everything. Because when someone moves from fear to truth, they stop creating distance and start creating depth. You, too, are standing differently now. Not leaning forward, not pulling back. Just grounded. You are no longer questioning whether you are seen. You know you are. And that knowing allows you to remain open without vulnerability feeling dangerous. This balance is rare. It only appears when both people are ready to meet each other fully, without rushing or retreating. You are not proving your worth. You are embodying it. Let this moment be acknowledged for what it is. A quiet confirmation. Not a climax, but a foundation. What comes next will not need intensity to feel meaningful. It will grow through steadiness, shared presence, and mutual respect. The change you sensed from the beginning has now taken shape. And from here, what unfolds will not be about becoming something new. It will be about deepening what has finally aligned.